And we have a guest in the building today. I guess, Jessica, she's a Emmy Award nominated person, so we have to behave and class up the joint a little bit.
Yes. Very classy. Very classy.
So we'll have to behave a little bit. But she is an Emmy Award nominating journalist, TV personality, book writer, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Andrea Vecchio, how are you doing?
Well, if it's going to be classy, I guess that means I can't swear.
A little bit.
Right, a little bit. A word slipping out every once in a while. There's nothing wrong with that.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
It is.
I like your setup.
Thank you. It is a pleasure. We've been trying to do this for a while.
I think it's been like 2 years.
It
right?
has. It has. It's been like 2 years. So I'm glad to finally get you here. First, let's talk about your new TV show that's debuting today, right?
Yes, it's a web series called Driving Cleveland. So think carpool karaoke or without the singing, because nobody would watch it then. It was an idea that I had a few years ago after I left local television. I wasn't sure what I was going to do next, but I'd spent almost 20 years of my life in broadcasting, so I felt like that's where I was going to stay. But I couldn't find the right type of job. And so I was talking to a friend of mine who was in the business down in Miami, and I said, and this was before everybody was doing this, but I said, what if I put cameras in cars and just started recording conversations with interesting people? And we drove around Cleveland, maybe went to some of their favorite places. But I feel like some of the best conversations happen in a car. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is, like you're cocooned in and you just feel like it's private. And we would be getting rid of the lights and getting rid of like that direct eye contact, which sometimes can be intimidating for people. And you just start, BSing about life and interesting topics. And so she said, I think that's a great idea. And so that's where it lived in my brain for 3 years. How many of us do that, right? We have an idea and we don't do anything about it. And so I didn't do anything about it. And then the Late Late Show came out with carpool karaoke, and Jerry Seinfeld started doing comedians in cars, getting coffee. And every time I would see shows like that, I thought, I had this idea. And I
damn it.
doing with it. But I was dating somebody who said, you keep talking about it. Why don't you do something about it? And so I did. And I knew that I could get the automotive industry interested in it. So I contacted a guy named Bernie Moreno, who has,
know Bernie.
He's awesome. I love Bernie, and he has a ton of dealerships, and he's really forward thinking and an innovator. And I told him the idea, and he said, I love it. Let's do it. And so here we are. I think I talked to him about it in May, and we're going to launch our first episode today.
Yay.
Fantastic.
Congratulations.
Who's your first interview?
Joe Thomas from the Cleveland Browns.
Awesome.
And I got to tell you, he was hysterical. First of all, he's a huge guy, right? And his wife called me ahead of time and said, can you come a little early to pick Joe up? He's going to be hungry and he's going to want to go through Chick-fil-A. And I looked to the heavens and said, because I was like, for sure we can take him to Chick-fil-A. And so what happens at Chick-fil-A is really pretty awesome. So that becomes kind of comical, but Joe's a guy where nothing is off limits. He's very open. He'll talk about anything. So I think at some point in the interview, I said, so can you list all the quarterbacks for the Browns you've played for in order? And I think it also so happened that the car we were driving was once driven by Johnny Manziel. So something about that came up.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So you'll have to check that out. DrivingCleveland.com, or we'll have it on the Twitter handle at Driving CLE.
Okay, awesome.
Nice.
Is it going to be on YouTube as well?
Yeah, that's really going to be the host site for it.
Okay.
Bernie Moreno has a YouTube page, and so that'll be the main host site, and then we'll blast it out all over social media too.
I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah,
it's gonna be so. It sounds so funny.
I know. I can't wait to watch it too.
We're here talking with Andrea Vecchio, and you mentioned earlier about leaving from local TV. What made you decide to leave from local television and pursue something else?
Well, I got called into a room and they told me I was going to be leaving.
Yeah, well.
So it was, and that's just the nature of the business. It happens. If you're in the entertainment industry or broadcasting of any form, at some point, you're probably going to lose your job. And at the time, it felt so personal because the show that I was on called Good Company was a show that I was the senior producer on. I was one of the main hosts of the show, and I felt like it was kind of my baby. I helped develop certain aspects of it from the ground up. I mean, and when I say certain aspects of it, we really were in somewhat of a box. So we were limited. There were times when maybe if we had ideas, we just weren't able to do them, or you'd hear no a lot of the times. But I will tell you this, it was a great experience for me because without doing Good Company, I would not have had a chance to fly to Los Angeles, fly to New York, fly to Bora Bora, and interview some of the most famous people in the world. So I'm really grateful for my time there. But to get back to your question of why did you decide to leave, it probably was a blessing for me. I didn't feel like it at the time because I was losing my job, which I felt like meant I was losing my identity. Right. But there were many blessings that came out of it.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more with Andrea Vecchio here on The Outlaws.
The Outlaws Radio Show on the FCB Radio Network.
And we are still here with Andrea Vecchio, Emmy Award nominated TV personality, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So before we went to break, you were talking about your transition from local television. And I believe not too long after that, the book came, right? So let's talk a little bit about your book.
It did. When I left TV, I was mentioning I wasn't really sure what was going to happen next. But, you know, we always have those things that we say are on our bucket list or our wish list of things we want to do. And one of them for me was to write a book because I always loved writing. I thought it would be a trashy beach read. I was like, I am going to be the female Nicholas Sparks. But I went through a lot of things in my life right before I lost this all happened in a period of 5 weeks. I lost my job. I'd been in a relationship, thought we were going to get married and have children. That was definitely a dream of mine. He left 2 weeks after I lost my job. Oh. And then I had a lump on my back the size of my fist next to my spine.
Oh my God.
And it had to come out and I didn't know what it was. So that was all in 5 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
Now people lose their jobs and people go through breakups and people have health scares. Sometimes they spread them out. And in my case, I just shoved it all in. It was 5 weeks. So I was kind of just looking up to the sky saying, what else do you have for me? Because it felt like a really low time. And so that trashy beach read I thought I was going to write instead became what was a little bit more of like self-help. I'll say memoir, even though it feels like a stuffy word for me. And I feel like I haven't lived enough to write a memoir. But it was nonfiction. But I wrote this book that was meant to be motivational and inspirational and empowering, particularly for women. Mm-hmm. Now, that wasn't the initial goal. I just thought I had stories to tell and advice to share because I learned a lot. The idea for the title of the book, which is called Live Your Playlist, how to get your blank together one song at a time, only because we're keeping it classy. I was walking the beach down in Florida where my parents lived after all those bad things happened. I put in my earphones, I pushed play on my playlist, and I'd listen to Eminem's Lose Yourself. And I was like, that jerk. Except that wasn't the word. It was much stronger than that. And then I listened to something else that was really sappy and it would make me cry. And I feel like music's a universal language for all of us, right?
It is, yes.
So even if our playlists are different, they still bring out an emotion in us, whether it motivates us or it takes us back to a memory in our minds. But I thought, I'm living my playlist. Like I'm living the lyrics. That's the name of the book. I'm going to write a book called Live Your Playlist.
Nice.
And so that's how the book was born.
Nice. I can't wait to read it. I'm pretty excited.
Oh, good. We're going to have to get you a copy of it.
Especially if it's about women empowerment.
Yeah.
We have to stick together.
Thank you. Amen.
So let's go back to the beginning. What made you decide to get into journalism?
I did not know what I wanted to do. I was going to school at Ohio State. Mm-hmm. I was an English major, and everybody said to me, oh, you're an English major, so you want to teach. But I had no desire to teach at all. My grandmother thought I should be on TV like Wilma Smith, who was a longtime anchor woman in Cleveland. She said, you should be on TV like Wilma Smith. But I didn't have TV anchor hair, and I really didn't have a great wardrobe. It was filled with like a lot of Keds in every color. It was not very stylish, but they were really in at the time.
Right, exactly.
I heard they're making a comeback. Should have kept them. So my mother was at a luncheon one day. There was a local newswoman there, and my mom went up to her afterward and said, "How does a young person get involved in TV?" And she said, "Through internships." Mm-hmm. So I called this woman, and I ended up getting an internship on a local talk show called The Morning Exchange, which was a historical show here. Mm-hmm. It was on the air for 28 years, and they had
served the basis to Good Morning America.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It was the model for Good Morning America. So I interned on that show, and I loved it, and I caught the bug, and I never left until they told me to. No. But I'm coming back.
Yay.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes,
That's awesome. That's how I got into it. I was watching E! News. I was like, I think that's what I want to do with my life. And I was like, oh, broadcasting school, yeah.
Right.
Good for you.
Got into it. So you were with BFCA for a little while.
Yes.
Tell us about your time there.
So I first got into, and the BFCA, the Broadcast Film Critics Association.
Yes.
I became a film critic, but it took some time to be I don't know if you I guess it was asked to be in the organization. Okay. I was traveling back and forth to LA with my television job, interviewing huge stars, right? George Clooney, Julia Roberts, Robert De Niro, Denzel Washington, Halle Berry, you name it. I probably talked to them or was at some kind of an event with them, except Will Smith.
Oh,
love Will Smith. And I never have had a chance yet to meet Will Smith or Leonardo DiCaprio. He's on my wish list.
If you guys are listening, she wants to meet you.
Right.
So make it happen.
Make that happen.
And so what I was doing was just interviewing all of these actors and directors for their films before they were released on the big screen. And over a period of time, I just started reviewing these films. So I became a part of the Broadcast Film Critics Association. It was a really, God, what an awesome time in my life. You know, you mentioned wanting to be on E! News or watching E! News, and that was an inspiration for you. One of the very first interviews I did was with Russell Crowe, before Russell Crowe was a household name. And the reason I got to go was because an entertainment reporter passed on going to interview him because she thought he wasn't a big enough star and nobody knew who he was.
Wow.
So as a young up-and-comer, I was sent to interview him. And when I was waiting to interview him, I saw somebody from E! News, Juliana, she was DePandy at the time, and Juliana Rancic.
Yep.
And I thought, oh my God, I watch her on TV. Like, what am I doing here? I don't belong here in a room with somebody from Entertainment Tonight and E! News. But you got to deliver, right? So I went into the room, interviewed Russell Crowe. He was super cool to me. He ended up being nominated for an Academy Award for that movie. It was called The Insider, and that I interviewed him for. And the next year he won for Gladiator, and he became a household name.
Wow.
And I'm very thankful to that, who I've left a nameless reporter who passed on interviewing him because she didn't think he was big enough.
Exactly.
It really changed the course of my career. I would say that is why I really ultimately was like, this is where I need to be. I need to be interviewing people in entertainment and in film, and I really love the broadcasting world.
Wow.
That's
nice.
fantastic.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Shout out to her for not doing it.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Exactly.
Right. Her miss was my gain.
Yeah.
Right.
We're here with Andrea Vecchio from the new TV show. What is the name of the show?
It's called Driving Cleveland.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a web series, and it's all going to be based on Cleveland. We're going to get in a car with some cameras, talk to interesting, innovative people who are driving, money and, whether it be, new ideas or financially contributing to Cleveland, we're going to interview them, and we'll post that all over the place.
So cool. So nice. I know you got to go. So real quick, let's talk about the event that you're also a part of as well.
Well, I think one of the cool things about the world that I've lived in is that there are other opportunities to make a difference in your community. And that's really what it's all about, right? I mean, we can have a lot of fun and I can jet set around the world,
Right.
and that's selfishly fun. But when you can make a difference and make an impact in people's
Absolutely.
lives, that's really the most fulfilling part. So a very good friend of mine who's joining us in here today, she's sitting over there in the corner, my great friend, Carolyn Brown.
Hi, great friend.
She's hosting a luncheon, and Amanda Berry is going to be the keynote speaker.
Wow.
Nice.
And I believe this is the first time that she's doing a keynote address in front of a large group. I think we're expecting hundreds of people at this luncheon called Break the Silence, Break the Cycle. And it's all to benefit the Domestic Violence and Child Advocacy Center. So this is on Thursday, October 27th at the new downtown Hilton.
Which is gorgeous.
Isn't it spectacular?
Oh man, I was down there for the RNC at a party all the way at the top at the bar.
Oh, what
my
a view.
Amazing.
Oh, what a view. So this is a luncheon, and to have a chance to listen to what Amanda Berry has to say, I just feel like is going to be worth the price of admission. I know there will be silent auction and everything that comes along with a fundraiser, but just to be in a room filled with women and men too, who want to empower others to get out of a bad situation, you know, maybe a situation that they never thought that they would be in, and then to listen to this incredible woman whose story just doesn't even seem real to any of us.
Not at all. Gives me chills even thinking about it.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So if you want to get tickets, can I say there's a website, and it's it's the dvcac.org, dvcac.org. which stands for Domestic Violence and Child Advocacy Center. So tickets will be there. They will go really fast because it's kind of just a really special opportunity for us to be able to hear Amanda Berry speak.
Yeah.
Awesome. Make sure that you go out and get your tickets. And real quick, let everybody know how to get in contact with you on social media.
Oh, okay. I'm on Facebook, Andrea Vecchio. I'm on Twitter, which is at Andrea Vecchio. I'm on Instagram, Andrea M, as in Mary Vecchio.
All right. Simple enough.
Yeah, so you can find me anywhere. Or just go to my website, which is andreavecchio.com, or liveyourplaylist.com, if that's easier to remember. That's a lot. I just spit a lot out, right? Does anyone remember that? It'll be on maybe you'll have it on like your Facebook page. Or
absolutely. I'll tag you when the show comes out. So that'll definitely, we always do that.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
So,
tag me so I can spread it out. Let other people listen.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show. This has been a pleasure.
A huge
2 years in the making.
Yes, finally.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're wonderful. Thank you both for having me here.
Oh,
thank
no
you.
problem.
And good luck with everything that you have going on. And I look forward to watching and promoting the show.
All right. Thank you.
All right.